My name is Tracy, and I am the host of Black Mentality Podcast. The event tonight is actually a collaboration between the Zimbabwe Association in Australia, in New South Wales, and Black Mentality. You can find ZIMAA and Black Mentality on all social media platforms. Before I actually begin today, I would like to actually start by acknowledging the traditional owners and custodians of the land on which we gather here tonight and pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging. I am joining you from Darrowland, and I would like to make sure we all remember that sovereignty has never been ceded. It always was and always will be Aboriginal land. Now, I would also like to make another acknowledgement, which is really pertinent to what we're talking about today. So I would like to acknowledge the individual and collective experiences of those with living or lived experience of mental health and alcohol and other drug issues. And I actually like to acknowledge all of you guys as well. Thank you so much for actually attending. I know people are still rolling in at the moment, but either way, let's get the program going. So as you know, just to get everyone sort of acquainted with Zoom housekeeping and whatnot, I'd like to remind everyone to keep themselves on mute during the Zoom session today. You'll get plenty of opportunity to actually comment away, but also you can currently use the comment section just so that like we can actually still hear people that are engaging with us. You can also use reactions at any time, especially putting your hand up if you would like to say something during the audience engagement sections. But for now, you would just use the chat function if possible. Please note that this session is also recorded. So if you don't wish to be recorded, you can actually put your camera off just so that people know. But essentially, it will be recorded for future podcast episodes and also for ZIMAA YouTube so that people can actually access these things in the future. And I have to let you know that the only time that I'm not actually recording is during a small group discussion that we'll have where we actually want to enable vulnerable conversations to happen. So during that time, you will not actually be recorded. So you can actually make sure you are vulnerable and as authentic as you would like. I'd also like to remind everyone that this is a closed Black community event. So that just means really that this is specifically curated and designed to be a safe cultural space for the Black community in Australia. And this will actually allow a lot of authentic and vulnerable conversations to happen. Now, we do endeavor to provide a safe space for everyone. And the content here tonight might actually be a little bit triggering or cause some sort of psychological discomfort. So I'm just putting that as a disclaimer. In saying that, that's not our aim at all. But to keep the community safe, we will take mindful breaks throughout and provide attendees information on where to get help. I also encourage anyone who might experience any distress to actually take breaks as well, if you need them, and to reach out after the session. More than happy to actually provide you and direct you to services. Another way we can also keep each other safe is actually being quite mindful for using the language that we share around mental health. So that simply means using things that are, or language that is a lot more empowering and less stigmatizing to mental health issues. And lastly, the last disclaimer, please remember that we will be hearing a diverse range of personalized experiences and opinions. And as a result, I just want everyone to actually remember to keep it quite respectful in their engagement and during our time together. Now, we do have an exciting agenda up ahead. Honestly, I am so excited for all of you to actually see what we've got in store for you. So the first thing is we will actually be going through and hearing what ZIMAA and Black mentality is all about. Then after that, we'll actually partake in a mental wellbeing activity, which is more of a game and what I tend to do every time I start a podcast. And then we'll actually have an interesting discourse around what mental wellbeing might actually be for you and for myself and just other people around here today as well. Then after that, we'll actually hear some thought-provoking poetry from Afrothinker. I cannot wait for you to actually hear this poem. Then after that, we'll have some Bedding and Black and highlighting some Black mental health services in Australia. So we'll have a quick mindful break after that, where we'll have a soul-soothing performance from Stephen. That's something to also be really excited about. Then we'll also have a riveting panel discussion where we have experts of lived clinical and research experience and interest talking from their own perspectives and professional perspective as well. Lastly, we'll get a chance to actually have a conversation with a panelist where you ask some questions. But before we actually sort of end the whole evening, you'll actually get a chance to share your own thoughts and your sort of mental health tips as well. So that will be quite exciting. Then we will have a nice centering activity delivered by Mickey, who will actually provide a bit of grounding that will happen. I did notice that I actually missed one person, but we'll have a mindful break as well in between where Emily Nkoma will actually perform for us. So again, be excited because that will be such a great break hearing her perform. Now, I just wanted to give you a little bit of an overview of what Black Mentality is, my podcast. So I did start this podcast in 2020. And essentially, the aim was really to generate discussions around how we intersect our daily lives with Black experiences with our mental health needs. And as per my tagline, what does that actually mean? It just means trying to achieve a state of mental wellness in this economy as a Black person. So there are about 16 episodes, and you can find all these episodes on different platforms like Spotify, Apple, and you can also find them on Google, not to discriminate Google. And now, just to hear about ZIMAA, I will hand over to the Madam Chair herself, Madam Chair Gladys Masego. Take it away.
Thank you, Tracy. Hello to everyone, and thank you all for joining us and attending this event today. I'll also start quickly by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which I'm presenting from today, the Banarong Nation, and pay my respects to the elders past, present, and emerging. I'll talk briefly about ZIMAA, the Zimbabwe Association in Australia, which was established in 2004 by a group of dedicated Zimbabweans in New South Wales, Australia. And as a member, I'm proud to express that the vision is to promote, preserve, and resource Zimbabwean cultural values and traditions within the multicultural Australian community. ZIMAA strives to preserve, resource, and foster engagement with Zimbabwean culture by facilitating social, cultural, and educational events in different ways. And this is one of the examples of those events. We intend to enhance cohesive opportunities between Zimbabwe and the Australian community. We've done a couple of initiatives from assisting members in our community. Sorry, I had a phone coming through. With bereavement support, leading fundraising for Zimbabwean people back home, for example, the cholera endemic that we had a couple of years ago, and working with World Vision Zimbabwe to be able to make our donations there. We've hosted different initiatives. We've supported the soccer tournaments local in New South Wales, and we would like to continue facilitating, and we'll be having monthly seminars as the ones we're having today. I will not go without acknowledging the committee that is part of the executive committee, the subcommittee that has prepared this for us together alongside Tracy. The Sports, Arts and Culture Subcommittee, which is led by More Blessing Gumbo, Mr. Mashingaidze, and Tracy herself is in that committee as well. So it's a pleasure working with these people, and I am proud of what they are doing. I'm not sure if I forgot anyone in that subcommittee. Please help. Thank you all, and looking forward to a great event tonight. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I appreciate and completely actually concur with what you've been saying there about the team and how everyone works tirelessly. And if you haven't joined ZIMAA yet, please do so, because it is such a great organization, and we've got a lot in store planned for you guys as well. With that being said, let's get into it. Like I did say, I do tend to like to play games, especially when I start when I start a podcast episode. And essentially, the whole point of that game is to then sort of give you insight into what we'll be talking about. So the game I've chosen today is quite interesting because it's a TikTok challenge that used to be, or I think it's still popular, but hopefully it's still somewhat being used by people and people might remember it. So the game is essentially put a finger down. So what that means is you have your 10 fingers showing to the camera. And essentially, when someone reads out a statement, if you agree with that statement, you put a finger down. And I have about 8 statements for you. And I just want you to put a finger down if you agree with any of them. And that will give you insight into what we'll be talking about today, which hint, it's been a spoiler everywhere. You've seen it in the tags. So for those people that actually do not like to use the camera or to actually use their fingers on camera, I actually got you as well. So I did have a poll and I'll actually launch it now that you can actually use to answer yes or no. So I will launch that poll right now so that you can actually get a chance to play as well. All right. So just so that we actually are on the same page, I'm just going to ask everyone just to participate. 2 little simple, I guess, test runs right now. So let's go with put a finger down if you like dogs. From what I can see, a lot of people do, which is great. And I think it's fantastic. Hopefully, I'm glad no one's a cat person. Jokes. Anyone can be a cat person. Okay, another one. Put a finger down if you have Zimbabwean heritage. Yeah, I would assume so because I've been quite biased today. I've had a lot of people that are Zimbabwean really joining us today, but hey, still got love for any other African person here of African descent. Okay, great. Now that we actually have got the hang of it, I will read out the statements now. So I will start off by basically telling you these 8 statements, and I just want you to put a finger down if you agree. So the first one is put a finger down if you prioritize your sleep most of the time to ensure that you wake up well rested. Okay. Yes, that's great. I think that's fantastic. It's great to actually prioritize sleep, isn't it? Okay, let's go to the next one. Put a finger down if you catch up with your friends and family quite regularly. I would think it's a given. As African people, we love our connection with family and friends, isn't it? And we're also quite communal. Then put a finger down if you eat a pretty balanced diet. So I'm talking about actually eating your fruits and veggies. That one's an interesting one, I can tell, because usually you have mixed results when it comes to diet, isn't it? Okay. Now put a finger down if you do some form of exercise for at least 30 minutes each day. I am loving the the different type of because I can see the poll as well. I'm loving just the different type of responses I'm seeing right now. But it looks like there's a lot more people that do like to engage in exercise. So that's fantastic. Now, put a finger down if you'd like to try something new at least once a month. Okay. Yep. It's good. It's good to definitely stimulate the mind to do something new each time. Hey, let's go with this next one. You don't have to think about, don't be as, I'm not being intrusive. I'm just asking a random question. Put a finger down if you see your GP at least once a year. Okay, that's great. I'm actually really impressed by this one because it is so important to at least see your GP once a year. Hey, now, second to last question. Put a finger down if you sometimes sing and dance to make yourself feel better. How interesting. I'm actually It's more towards a yes for a lot of people, but it's quite interesting to see that there's some no's. And of course, each to their own with their own participation and mental well-being engagement activities. Okay, the last one. Put a finger down if you've supported a Black or creative business or a community initiative. Awesome. Awesome. Mostly yeses. I guess the next question will always be, how can we actually get more yeses rather than nos? But no, that's fantastic. Thank you all so much for participating in that. And I'll just share the results right now. But it was quite interesting to see a lot of people's responses on the poll as well, and seeing people's hands as they were going down. So I'm sure you've already noticed it wasn't just a game for my pure enjoyment. It was actually just to segue into our topic today. And the theme really is about mental well-being. So a lot of the reasons why I used these questions was to actually bring to light already the recommended mental well-being activities that are good for us. So that was the reason why I was framing those questions. But in saying that, you will actually get your own chance as well to share your mental health tips a bit later on. But for now, let's actually try to define what mental wellness is. So there is this whole, I guess, ooh, I think someone is on mute. Great. Well, I know, for example, mental health and mental well-being are usually interchangeably used. And I will use the World Health Organization's actual description of what mental well-being is. So they describe it as a state of mental well-being that enables people to cope with the stress of life, realize their abilities, learn well, work well, and contribute to their community. I think that is a pretty clinical definition, but in itself, it's actually quite important because it's quite uniformed. But the reason why I think it's a clinical definition is because it really focuses on functionality or someone's capabilities and how they actually contribute to the community, which there's nothing wrong with that. However, there's always the subjective part that we need to also consider when we look at mental well-being. So I would like to actually focus that on a little bit more, the subjective part of how we see our mental wellness. So I'll quickly share what mental well-being means to me, and then I'll ask the audience. I'll sort of throw it to you guys. So remember to please use the reaction function to raise your hand so that I can actually call on you as well and see who's interested to share. Now, in terms of my perspective about what mental well-being is, I look at it a little bit differently. So sort of looking at my whole picture, without making it too complicated, kind of like social determinants of health type of situation where I really consider my spiritual, emotional, cultural, physical, and financial needs. And usually I look at it in the sense, can I regulate, can I adapt, and can I develop these things as well? So I know it kind of sounds abstract at the moment, but essentially when I'm talking about spiritual and cultural, I'm referring to having a sense of purpose and also a positive sense of connectedness to my people and culture. Then being emotionally regulated and agile or developing, I'm essentially referring to how I generally want to be able to work with my emotions to a point where I can achieve a state of being at peace with them. Then the next element, really, the physical health part, is just about having that physical fitness, having a good level of good fitness, diet, and sleep. So that's generally what that means to me. Then, lastly, the financial aspect of it is really about being sound and responsible because I don't know who's ever said this, but poverty doesn't really increase someone's mental wellness. So for me, financial soundness is also quite important. But now I'm actually quite keen to hear from you guys as well. So I'm just wondering who would like to share what their definition of mental well-being is? I'm happy to go and pull up on some people. I guess, no, without being too intrusive, I would love to hear from Madam Chair, not to put you on the spot, just to sort of hear what your thoughts are around mental wellness, because I think it's such an interesting concept to hear it from each individual person. And then I'll sort of go on to the person who's actually put their hand up, which is Mr. Oliver. But Madam Chair, Could you tell me what mental wellness is?
All right, thank you. Oh, Trace, I didn't think you picked me. Since I just spoke, I was relaxed and thinking she's not going to pick me. But anyway, with me, mental well-being is the ability to balance most of the general aspects in your life, be it work, life. If you're studying, study as well. If you're able to have that work-life study balance, if you are studying, if you're a mom, there would be more. But really being stress-free, it's the wish to get there, but minimal stress. I would say if you're able to cope around your environment and around the things that you're doing, and I think I'll stress balancing the things that you need to do, and you don't allow a lot of stress in you, and you're able to deal with things as they come, whether it's challenges or challenging situations, being able to manage and cope in that atmosphere and sort of have a happy life. That's how I would put it.
Yeah, and no, that's great because I think balancing for sure is quite an important aspect to any sort of mental illness or in general, just your health. So quite interesting. Oliver, I did see your hand up before. I'm wondering if you would like to share now.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I'm more of a social entrepreneur, so I'm more about social capital. So for me, mental wellness is to do with my relationship interactions. So how will I interact not just with those that are close to me, that is family, workplaces, but also the environment as well. And I think it does intersect with what you're talking about. That the environment means that look, how outgoing am I? Do I regularly go outside and exercise? Do I go for once in a while to the movie? Do I just catch a train ride to the city just for the fun of it? So for me, wellness has to do with that aspect of, as I said, social capital and social interaction and relationship building.
No, that is actually a great point again, especially around the environment intersecting with how we then sort of view and experience mental wellness. So I definitely think that's a great way of defining it. And I did see Ravimba Funi as well. You had your hand up.
Hi guys. For me, I sort of feel like mental health is the status of your emotional, psychological, and social being, and being aware of yourself, like your triggers with stress and how to handle it on a deeper level, as well as just being aware of yourself and your space, and how, if you're in certain situations, what can cause you to react in a particular way, as well as anything around that bracket. So just even from your family aspect to your work aspect, just out all parts of your life as well.
Yeah. No, honestly, I think just from hearing and doing this exercise with everyone, I can see similarities, but I can also see those definitely nuanced ways that we view our own mental well-being. So I think it's fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing, Rue. I will go to Miss H, who put up her hand as well before.
Can you hear me?
Yes, very well.
All right. So I think it's also important that we talk about what it's not. So that people know, because some people don't do the things that people are saying, definitions, it doesn't relate, or not all of it, relates to people. So what it's not is, just saying, oh, I'm alive, I'm breathing, God has me, I have 3 square meals a day. People in prison also have 3 square meals a day, and they're also alive and breathing. And it's like, oh, the kids are okay, they've gone to school, they have food, they are fed, the husband is fine, everything is going well. That's not it. You as a person need to be at a stage where you can take a breath, and your breath is deep. So always being on the go is also not it. Always working, never checking in with your emotions. This is slightly geared towards our male counterparts who just continue going. Things happen. They're like, yeah, it's cool. It's washing over me like a river. I'm okay. I'm a man. I can keep going. It's you just need to check in with yourself as well. So those are the things that I want to say that it's not.
Yeah, no, I think that's quite interesting. And like, definitely, again, with the different perspectives that we're hearing today, that it might be important for some people to know what it doesn't look like in terms of, I guess, the generic society and the definitions of it. But it might be, I guess, for some people, it's quite nuanced as well, that if going quite a bit of the time without any sort of a break might be what they consider to be mental wellness for that moment, but there is a lot more that could also be done. And then lastly, get Angela Como to answer. Hi.
Hi. So from my perspective, in addition to what others have already said, also being able to appreciate the little and big achievements in life, being able to help other people who are in need, and appreciating the physical health. It's all part of mental well-being. Yep.
Yes. No, thank you so much for sharing that, because I think you're right, especially in different sectors when it comes to mental health settings, we tend to silo things. And I think you're very right in making sure we integrate everything as well. But no, thank you so much for actually sharing. I think everyone's shared quite interesting and quite nuanced definitions or how they perceive their own mental well-being to be. And I think it's great to get that insight from each person and to continue having these conversations as well, to actually just ask each other, what do we think our mental wellness means and how does it look like? I think I really liked the fact that each person had a different way of how it looks. Now we will take our first mindful break where we'll have our first performance. So we'll actually have Afro Thinker, who is a poet. So I will bring her on right now. And before she starts, I will actually introduce her. So Afro Thinker, aka Chi, is a pediatric registrar by day, and in her free time dabbles in poetry. Amazing poetry, might I add. Her poetry is inspired by her observations, personal and shared experiences. She continues, she loves that poetry is open to subjective interpretations. Poetry is an outlet for her to creatively express and emotionally regulate herself. Afro Thinker is a girl with many big feelings to express, who is growing and learning each day. Take it away, Chi.
Thank you. Thanks for the introduction. Now I'm like, I need to breathe. Thanks, guys. I've got two poems for you. So one is called Between the Truth and the Fiction, or some of people know it as Not All Black Men. And then the other one is Strong Black Woman. So I'll start with the first one, and then we'll take it from there. Okay. Between the truth and the fiction, your reputation is sullied. I don't know what is true and what is fiction. The reputation of arrogance has superseded the Black men. The reputation of gangster, even in a pack of one, has superseded the Black men. In that pack of one, you could be a thug, a thief, a rapist, or a murderer. Between the truth and the fiction, I don't know what is true and what is fiction. The reputation of wife beater and cheater has superseded the Black men. Positive though, you're an acclaimed athlete and boy, your body is fine. But they, we, I see brawn and forget to see the brain. The reputation continues to supersede the truth about the Black men because they, we, I perpetuate the reputation. Introspection. I find myself getting entangled in this reputation. When you try to chat me up, the military-style defenses guard my heart. In automatic mode, I ask, do you have a wife? Because we know you're a cheater. Do you have kids? Because we know you got a baby mama somewhere. Do you have a job? because we know you're probably on the dole. Black men, you look at me puzzled, but you've heard this before. Before you even have a chance, you're out here playing your best defense game. Yeah, you heard this before, and you're the real MVP of this defense game. You sigh and shrug as you start off with, not all Black men. The gusto lost as you utter those words because the reputation supersedes the truth about you. The reputation continues to supersede the truth about the Black man. I step back, and that Black man silently exasperated by my accusations, I saw my brother and my future sons. I step back and realize mindsets have to change. I step back because surrounding me and my inner circle are good Black men, facing the brunt of the Black man reputation. I step back and appreciate the modeled kindness, love, trust, honesty, and hard work by my Black men. Unfortunately, there are a few bad men spoiling the broth, hiding the value of Black kings. I step back. I see you, not a Black man, but an individual. I step back, and though the heart be guided, I'm changing my ways, and a blank canvas is what we shall start with. I step back between the truth and the fiction. The truth is, reputations and stereotypes do not equate to fact. So I try to come to your defenses, my brothers. Not all Black men. Thank you.
Wow, that was fantastic. Oh my gosh. I think that is a great poem. Like I've always mentioned this. I think it's a fantastic poem for sure. And I guess, are we doing the second one?
Yes, I can get started on the second one. So I did one for the Black men in the building. This is for the Black women in the building. It's called I'm a Strong Black Woman. I am a strong Black woman. You see, I sometimes wonder why I can't just be a woman. From the onset, I'm defined by my Blackness. Owning this color, owning this melanin requires strength. You see, this melanin got me sleeping with one eye open, because if I'm not careful, I might wake up to a headline saying I'm a leader of an African gang. In my Packer one, I could still be a gang. In my Packer one, apparently I am fierce and not the good kind. So I try to assimilate. I try to learn the culture and the twangs, but they still say, why your English so different though? And chuckle when I say, you Jackman. So now I just say, Mr. Jackman. You see, my mother's tongue courses through my veins, a distinct reminder of my ancestral roots. You see, even if I try to mask it without Australian accent, mate, you'll still find it hard to look past that melanin. So we're back here again. Strong, Black woman. Feeling a little lost, wondering where I belong, questioning equality and rights, I find myself jumping on board the Black Lives Matter movement. I soon realize, no, my narrative matters. Different color, different tongue, my narrative still matters. Look past my color and you will see me. Not a strong Black woman, but a woman who loves art, jazz, and magic. A woman whose profession allows her to heal broken souls and broken souls. Times are not changing quick enough though, so I remain strong. I come to own it like the women before me, Rosa Parks, Maya Angelou, Mbuya Nehanda, and the women of today. Oprah Winfrey, Michelle Obama, and Queen Bey. I just hope one day when you see me, you will see a woman no different from that woman. You will see a woman no different from that woman. Stripped of my color, you will see me. And I won't be required to have skin so thick or be so strong. I can just be a woman. Thank you.
Oh, fantastic. I'm glad everyone else got to hear what I've been hearing before. And I just think, again, you have just empowered everyone. I feel empowered myself as a woman. I'm sure other men also feel empowered just by the message that you are portraying. And even non-binary or anyone who's gender non-conforming, I'm sure they felt empowered in some way. But I'm sure everyone also is also dying to sort of get to know the artist behind the talent, isn't it? So I just want to ask Uno Bakupi, which means basically where are you from? It's like it's something that we say in Shona, really to try and understand where someone location or sort of lineage really is from. So Afro thinker, Uno Bakupi.
Well, Ndinovaku Boyere, some of you might know, that song Dakavakure Kure Kwamrambinda and Dokumishakwang. So yeah, that's where I'm from.
Oh, that's exciting. No, thank you so much for, again, this poetry. I wonder, could you tell me what inspired those poems?
I guess with the Not All Black Men, it was inspired, I guess, during the time in Australia when we were getting like a lot of media releases about African gangs, and I had to think about myself, and I realized that like I had a lot of prejudices for Black men, and I thought it was really unfair. Like, I have amazing Black men in my life, and I think they needed a voice. Like, it's not fair to just be painted with one brush, and I think it's important to know that, like, there are individuals out there, and to treat people as individuals and not just paint them with one brush. So I thought it was an important message to get out, especially when you're facing all that negativity. And, I've got young Black people in my, like young Black boys in my life, and I want them to know that they're not painted by the same brush. Like, they're amazing and they don't have to conform.
Speak on it. No, I definitely think you are right on the money there when it comes to that representation and just being allowed to be quite vulnerable and be tender as well, not to be portrayed in a particular light all the time or stereotyped, as we know. No, thank you so much. I guess I think it'll be great for people just to know where to find you and how they can support you as well.
Thank you. So most of my poetry is on Instagram. So at Afro Thinker Girl, as it's spelled on my name there, like it's got a 1 instead of an I. So that's where you can find me.
Oh, sounds good. Thank you so much. Really appreciate the great poetry that you've provided with us tonight. Such a great way to have a mindful break.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right. So now we are moving into betting and highlighting the wonderful work of Black-owned Australian mental health services. So for this particular segment, it's really come about as a result of my vision, really to try and look at self-determination for Black people within Australia. So this segment really tries to highlight the excellent work that has been done by individuals. And essentially, you'll find out that we actually have quite a lot of Black mental health services out there. So I have a special guest that's actually going to be helping me out with this particular segment. So I'll just bring him on. So Simba, my little baby brother, will essentially be assisting me with this particular segment. So with this, let me just grab him. So Simba, hi. So I'll just quickly introduce you, make sure that people know who is speaking. So Simba is an altruistic person who loves his family and advocating for youth in all matters. Maybe by being cast as Jesus in a Year 6 play, his community advocacy spirit grew. He has volunteered with organizations that focus on youth mental well-being and social needs. Aside from these roles, Simba is currently studying physics and maths. Now, Simba will let you know all about the Black mental health services in Australia. But just a disclaimer before he gives you more disclaimers, This will and might not be an exhaustive list, as we are still open to people name dropping about any services that they're aware of after the session as well. Go on, Simba, take it away.
Thank you very much, my dearest older little sister. Now there are many very. I'm trying to think of a word because it's truly astounding the work that many people have been able to do, whether that be as individuals or as part of organizations. And I think it's best that rather than me trying to elaborate on the wondrous works that they do, I actually tell you what they are. So beginning, we have Chariton 24-hour group, founded by Rumbi Ayodele. And what it aims to do is for participants disconnected, whether that be from a vicious lifestyle, a life cycle of rejection or reoffending, incarceration, and mental replace, ultimately is there to support and assist those people. We have Dawn to Day Counseling, founded by Dilewe Zigori. Uses a wide range of therapy styles tailored to each person's unique circumstances and needs. I'll also say that having been around Sydney and much of Australia, my Aussie accent at times tends to kick in. We also have Dune Health and Wellbeing, founded by Dr. Tinashe Dune, specializes in helping people to thrive and live full lives by using evidence-based interventions to support various mental health concerns. We also have Glow Perinatal Emotional Health and Wellbeing Clinic, which was co-founded by Dr. Adeobi Udechuka. Glow is a unique perinatal emotional health and wellbeing clinic and model of care with a variety of healthcare professionals, including psychologists, psychiatrists, pediatricians, psychotherapists, and yoga instructor. We have Healing Together, which was founded by Dr. Kathomi Gathwiri, a therapeutic and consulting service that supports Black people and people of color in Australia and Aotearoa. We also have Pola Practice, founded by Nasalafia Nawinga, which is a culturally responsive boutique practice that provides clinical, community, and consultation services. We have Positive Mental Health Programs, founded by Francis Aqua, which is a private business registered credentialed mental health nursing program. What they do is collaborative case management, home visits, outreach, family and client support, psychotherapy, and supervise students on placement. We also have Psych Care Psychology and Mental Health, founded by Dr. Dadirare Agara, which strives to provide professional care within innovative models of treatment to certify long-term recovery for individuals seeking a better quality of life. We also have Rainbow Muse Clinic, founded by Chine Mupotsa Russell, which is based in Naarm, Melbourne. What they do is offer art therapy, psychology, child-centered play therapy, animal-assisted therapy, and yoga in an inclusive environment that celebrates diversity. We have Sutra Therapy, founded by Sarah Kalon, which believes in connecting, sharing, and inspiring through providing a safe, non-judgmental, and supportive space to learn and apply strategies to navigate your day-to-day challenges. We also have our wonderful host, Tuvuma Mental Health, founded by, of course, Tracy Tuvuma, which offers therapy, nursing coordination services through the credentialed mental health nurse program through Southwest Sydney Primary Health Network. We also have the Healing Process, founded by Faith Aguyu, offers one-on-one 50-minute counseling, energy healing, or mindfulness coaching sessions face-to-face in Sydney or via Zoom or FaceTime. Now, Faith also runs group events, which include healing meditations and workshops. Now, we also have a lot of private practicing psychiatrists that are truly incredible in what they do, like Dr. Bernard Shivare, as well as Dr. Xavier Mulenga, which both of them specialize in addictions, and both can be found at Ramsey Clinic Northside in New South Wales. We also have a Dr. Ayodele Olatunji, which specializes in adult psychiatry. He can also be found at Ramsey Clinic, Wentworth in New South Wales. We have Dr. Wale Akosile, who specializes in addictions and can be found in Ramsey Clinic, New Farm in Queensland. Now, we also have other mental health resources such as podcasts. As you already know, as Tracy has mentioned, we have Black Mentality, a podcast to intersect our daily lives with our mental health needs. We also have a Faith Agugu, started the Healing Process podcast because she believed that by doing our individual healing work, we heal our family, relationships, and community. We have Celine Mazinda, created Please Don't Leave the Table, which is centered around encouraging raw, healthy, and open conversation to break down barriers and show that our experiences aren't so individual after all. Now, please, by all means, this isn't a exhaustive list, but it is quite extensive. And of course, please look into these private practices and resources, find out more information, and of course, link up with them for your own personal needs. Thank you very much.
Thank you to my baby brother, just to reiterate that point, for letting us know about all of these services. Completely appreciate that. He usually has a great way of presenting things. I just wanted to also highlight a few other people that were added last minute as well. So we've got this particular service, Aspera Healthcare, that has been founded by Emmanuel Chumba. So just this information is available for anyone who wants it a bit later on as well. And then we also had ComExtra, which is a psychotherapeutic service that offers for a diverse range of people, and they've been practicing for quite a while. So all of these services are Black owned. Please remember that as well. Then lastly, there is a few other professionals that we did come across and sort of asked for their consent as well to include. So this includes Hilton, Tanda, and Michael's Aiba. I cannot pronounce it, but Michael's has his own private service as well. So he's from Ghanaian background. Yeah, so like Simba mentioned, please make sure that you do please do the work in yourself in terms of actually contacting these people and seeing what their availability is. But I would just like to make sure that you all actually knew that we did have all these services, which is quite great to see that there are Black-owned mental health services that you can actually access. So now for the next point, and I'm quite excited about this mindful break that we're about to have. We will have Stephen. So Stephen is going to provide a bit of a performance for us. So Stephen Chikazazam is a Zimbabwean-born singer and songwriter. He was immersed in music through church and school choirs from a young age, which served as a springboard for songwriting and arrangement. Stephen's debut project, Familiar People, brings together his soulful voice and songwriting skills over sounds reminiscent of classic soul and gospel records. Through his music and creative endeavors, Stephen aims to inspire and uplift the human spirit. I cannot wait for you guys to hear him because he is absolutely incredible. Take it away, Stephen.
Well, thank you, Tracy. Just gonna plug my mic.
That's how you know he's a professional. He's got the whole setup.
done. I traveled yonder to see a man. I've been longing to understand how this world works and why I feel lost, why I seem to pay the cost. I jumped on a cloud, flew over the sea. I circled the moon, felt my heartbeat telling me I need you. Ooh, you need me. We need us. Though we're made of dust, reach out your hand, wash away these worries. Raise me up so I can be a better man. Papa, teach me to sail these seas. Waves so high I can't breathe. I howl at the moon so I feel free. And I wonder if life is as it should be. What I mean is, would it be easier if I knew how to dream? Would I be stronger if you were here with me? I need you. Ooh, you need me. We need us. Though we're made of dust, reach out your hand, wash away these worries. Raise me up so I can be a better man. I need you, oh I need you. You need me, you need me. We need us, though we're made of dust. Reach out your hand, wash away these worries. Raise me up so I can be a better man. Reach out your hand, wash away these worries. Raise me up so I can be a better man.
Oh my gosh, what a soul-soothing performance. I just wish you actually had a live crowd so that you could probably see people and hear people clapping and screaming, essentially. That was amazing. Thank you so
Oh, thank you
much.
very much. Thanks for
Yeah,
the opportunity as well to be able to share.
of course. No, well, I'm sure, and I'm dying to know more about you. And I'm sure other people have the same interests too. So I guess I just want to know, what is your totem?
My totem is Soko.
Oh yeah.
Mine.
Okay, nice, nice, nice. I love totems because there's such a huge cultural significance with them, isn't it? Okay, now I'm just wondering, what was your song trying to tell the audience?
So the song itself, it's from a male perspective, and it's about someone finding their place in the world, but also longing for a connection. So in the case of the song, it's a young man looking for positive, I guess, male or father figure models.
Mm,
So yeah, and just so it's just really about the importance of connection and community as well.
wow. No, that's exciting. And that's quite great to hear as well, especially because it's from a male perspective. I think it's great to have that kind of positive role modeling for a huge group of people as well. Yeah, that's exciting. I guess if there's any part of your Zimbabwean heritage, what do you think might help you with your mental wellness?
So even just continuing with I guess community and connection. I think for me, connecting with family and friends is important. That's always been a big part of even just growing up, something that's been nurtured like within our family. And so even just
being in Australia, I find myself connecting with different communities and yeah, just really nurturing that sense of community.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So a lot of community is really important for you, it sounds like it. And that's great to hear because I think, like you said, that's such a huge part of our Zimbabwean heritage to be quite collective, isn't it? Yeah,
For sure.
that's
Yeah.
fantastic. Well, before I sort of let you go, I just want to know, where can people find you and support your work?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, you can find me on social media. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Just Chikazaza Music is my handle. I do have a couple of videos that were released this year that I'd love people to watch and listen to, and hopefully it adds value to you. And also I can put my handle in the chat so
Yes,
that people
please.
can connect.
Definitely. He is also on Spotify and other platforms. So please make sure you go listen to his music because I think I've been soothed each time I listen to it, especially I Need You is my favorite song. So thank you so much, Stephen, for coming along
Thank
and
you so much.
helping
Thank
out. Thank you. All right. So now we're going into our next session, which is really the panel discussion. I've been excited to hear from these different experts by lived experience, also experts by research, and also clinical experience. So I will start just pinning all these people so that they can actually come through before I introduce them as well. So let me just grab one more. Where's Dr. Tinashe? That's who I'm looking for right now. But all good. I've got them here. And Dr. Bernard is there as well. So hopefully he'll put his video on soon. But just to get started and actually introduce everyone, I would like to let you know who they are before you start hearing their awesome perspectives on different topics around mental well-being. Now, we've got Christian Yamazawa, who is a dedicated individual committed to improving the quality of life of individuals and the community. He has solid experience working in clinical and non-clinical mental health settings as a health education officer, utilizing a lived experience in health education and evidence-based approaches to support people. Christian has worked on various projects, including contributions to mental health policy and developing models of care. Great to have you here, Christian. Then we've got Dr. Tinashe Jako. She is a culture critic, writer, and political theorist. She has a PhD in political science and international relations. Her non-academic writing has included plays that have premiered at the Blue Room Theatre and short stories published by the Center for Stories. As a political analyst, she has appeared on platforms including the Africa Report, ABC News, Channel 10, SBS News, and CNN, providing commentary on political developments on the African continent. Not country, continent. Rue Ayodele is another person who will be joining us today. So she is an advanced and skilled mental health nurse working in private practice, where she delivers a range of interventions and therapies. Her personal interests include writing journals, running marathons, she can run, I tell you, boxing, and traveling around the world. Rue gives back to the community by voluntarily counseling women who have come out of domestic violence, marriages, and relationships. And lastly, we have Dr. Bernard Chivara. He is a specialist psychiatrist with experience across a range of inpatient and outpatient settings, both within Australia and overseas. He has an interest in general adult mental health problems, and in particular, the treatment of alcohol and other addiction disorders. I am so thrilled to have all of you here and cannot wait to hear what your perspectives are on the questions I have to throw at you. Now, I would actually like to begin, like how I began with everyone else, and actually understand what your perspectives of mental wellness actually is. So I would like to start by pointing the finger towards Christian and asking you, what does mental wellness mean to you? And thereafter, the rest of you can join in.
Thanks, Tracy, and thank you to pretty much everyone who is coming today. So to me, I think mental. So to me, I think it's just about being able to I guess balance to just balance, I guess, the stresses of life, and also being able to I guess also cope as well with all the challenges that I go through every single day, and being and also being able to balance those five domains: physical health, spiritual health, mental health, and yeah. So pretty much for me, that's my definition.
Yeah, that's awesome. That balance again is quite important. I just want to sort of throw it back to the other panelists as well, so that can be a discourse between the four of you. Let us know what your mental wellness is, and if you have anything in response to what Christian importantly said.
I think what Christian said is quite important, and everyone else who came before me. But I just wanted to add another additional point that one side of mental wellness is that ability to express yourself and live a fulfilling life. Whereas the other side of the coin is that's where we have people who have got diagnosed mental illnesses, mental disorders as per your ICD-11 or DSM-5. And I just wanted to say those people can also achieve mental wellness by making sure that their mental illnesses are well controlled, whether they're accessing appropriate psychological services or they're complying with their prescribed medications. And then the other thing also that helps with regards to mental wellness is the concept of resilience, which is this ability to bounce back, because as we know, life is unfortunately full of ups and downs, and all of us will at some point go through those downs, and it's those components of mental wellness that helps us to bounce back, such as connections to society and other things.
I just want to echo what everyone else has said, which is so very important, and to say ultimately, how I understand mental wellness is the absence of fear and anxiety about the present and the future. So to the extent that one is experiencing financial, spiritual, social, political, and other insecurities, that's going to create quite real challenges in terms of how one actually orients themselves, towards others, and towards the broader environment in which they find themselves, because that anxiety that would underline their kind of perception of who they are and how they move through the world would really make it difficult to engage in social life and partake in social life in various ways or another. And it would also undermine their capacity to develop a strong enough self-understanding that's not colored by fear and anxiety. And these things really undermine our capacity to lead a fulfilling life. So I would say the absence of fear and anxiety is fundamentally quite key to defining and understanding what mental wellness means and can be, or can look like for many different people.
Fantastic. And I think I can hear similarities in the way that you've all defined. And I guess I wonder if Rumba, you wanted to add to that. I could see that you were about to say something, but I jumped in a little bit earlier.
Not really. Okay. Just add on, in terms of my own experience, being able to have a full state of mental well-being, it means that I'm now in a phase of being able to give to other people. So for me to be able to say that I've achieved the full state of mental well-being, I need to be in the state of prosperity. Now, prosperity to me is not all about money, but it means I possess the ability and the power to meet the needs of mankind, regardless of what those needs are. So I have to consider the 5 main areas of life, which is, of course, my mental well-being. So I need to have a balance in terms of knowing, freedom in terms of my free will, in terms of my intellect, in terms of my emotional intelligence, and obviously being able to go through different stages of life accordingly, not skipping stages, you know. So, and also my relational and social well-being, which is assessing the quality of the relationships in my life, not quantity. So I'm assessing in terms of marriage, in terms of in-laws, in terms of basically what I do in terms of impacting other people's lives in order to build up a legacy. So that has to be well balanced. My physical health, I have to be balanced as well in terms of being of not struggling or suffering in terms of terminal illness, struggling with diseases, exercising, assessing the way of eating. As we know, food has a great impact on our emotions, our thinking. Then I also have to be in a state of a well-balanced financial state. That means not having debts, not being able to manage my finances, my needs and mindsets around my work, my job, and not having any financial insecurities, and also having the freedom from lack and possessing financial dominion. And lastly, spiritual prosperity. For me also, I need to consider to have the knowledge and of the anatomy of my soul, to know how to balance my emotions, my decisions, how I solve problems, having an understanding of my religion, my image, identity, character, and above all, to have the understanding of the laws of life. So if I have achieved a balance of all those five, then I can say I have a mental well-being. Then I can be able to help other people.
Yeah, that is fantastic. And I guess I can hear again similarities between what all four of you have actually said. And I think I would actually like to segue into the next question, because it actually, you all sort of touched on it in some ways around the social and political identities and needs, really. But before I sort of get there, I would also like to plant a seed for someone in the audience to ask this of Dr. Bernard. He used some actual acronyms, DSM-5 and IDC. So I want people to ask him what that is, but I know what they are, but I just want you guys to put him on the spot about that. So now just getting on to my sort of next question around social and political identities. I really want you to consider that when you're answering this. Can you tell me how you navigate the challenges that might threaten that state of mental well-being? And I would like to sort of push that to the social and cultural critic of the group first to answer, Dr. Tinashe.
Hi, thank you. So I think in Australia, Black girls and women grow up in a society where we're encouraged to understand ourselves in terms of how the world sees us. So we're required to look to the world and others to tell us who we are and what should be important to us. And in doing so, we're supposed to look to external sources to understand ourselves, which can undermine our capacity to participate in social life and or manage our emotional, spiritual, and even financial health, right? So looking outwardly in developing our self-understanding can give rise to feelings of insecurity, because it results in the future looking and sounding highly uncertain and bleak, something which can deter us from turning inwards to understand what is important to us and what it means to be a person, just a person living in an increasingly complex world. So on my part, and in terms of my mental health, I try to articulate who I am for myself, independent of what the world tells me I am, and independent of my belonging to various oppressed communities. And at the end of the day, who I am as a Black woman, including my mental well-being, is not determined by, or at the very least, it does not have to be determined by external factors and or things I have not chosen for or about myself. And I think this is where mental well-being can be found, in articulating those values and priorities that one holds dear in moving through and navigating the world, because such an articulation of personal and individual values is not necessarily limited by the state of the world, partial sympathies of others, and the meanings others may place upon the bodies that we inhabit.
Oh, wow. That was a whole word, I'm telling you, Dr. Tinashe, because I think that is incredible. You've really, I think, emphasized the point around knowing who you are at the core. And that also has that cultural context to it. Panelists, what are your thoughts, especially around your social political identities? I might throw that to Dr. Bernard.
I guess the east of Zimbabwe is littered without, a history of migration. We have people who've migrated from many other countries into Zim, and also Zimbabweans have migrated before independence and post-independence. And migration in itself is a major stressor that can affect mental well-being and result in mental illness. And the way we handle our integration into our host societies is quite important, that we integrate well, number one. And number two, we also maintain cultural practices that enhance our mental wellness.
Yes, no. So really about, again, that culture being at the center and at the core, but also being aware that there have been external influences that have or might have changed the way that we view our culture. I think that's quite important. Christian, do you have anything to add around that?
Yeah, I think I would like to I guess touch a bit on the poem for the African black men. So I think as a young black man growing up in this country, there was a lot of stigma in the East. Still a lot of stigma, and a lot of in a lot of attachments as well, which come with it. So I think it can be difficult sometimes trying to manage all of those situations. But for myself, I think something which I've tried to do is to just keep myself really around good people, and also I am someone as well who has a really good connection with my family. So yeah, pretty much just trying to keep those things to don't get in a situation where I'll feel stressed and so on. So yeah.
Yeah, no, it's quite it's a great point that you've raised there. Again, I think it's so important sometimes, like, to acknowledge where we actually then have a lot of the influences that might help or might not be helpful to our mental wellness journey. And just sort of going from that, I sort of want to segue a little bit into, I guess, keeping that in mind that we are in a foreign country. What are some of the supports that we actually do have in place? And I'd like for you guys to actually answer this from your own perspective or professional or lived experience if you'd like. But just us want to know what is or some of the supports that you have to actually achieve a state of mental well-being in this country. And Rumbi, I'd like to hear from you first, if possible.
Okay, maybe I can just tailor to the work that I do. In terms of mental well-being, as we know, there are different triggers, different causes. So when somebody comes in, they've got, we have to assess what is the root. We have to do a root analogy of what is the actual problem, because people come in, they have already some on antidepressants, antipsychotics, but look, we know that medication doesn't really cure the mental illness. It helps them to manage the symptoms. And from my own research and experience, medication does 15 to 20% of the job. The 80 to 85% are the psychosocial stressors, the whole 5 areas we've talked about. So in terms of support, after doing a thorough assessment, we then decide what is the best solution. So if someone is at the beginning, obviously, of the journey, medication is crucial. It can be, because it does help to stabilize other symptoms and stuff. So we can talk about medication, treatments, antipsychotics, antidepressants, and all of that. And then we can introduce psychoeducation, which is to give the person the knowledge. We are teaching them about the progression of the illness, the consequences, the prognosis, the treatment, and any other alternatives, and what are the aspects of the treatment can be affected, whether they smoke, they drink alcohol, and their lifestyle as well. Then from there, another type of support, it could be mentoring. They could just be needing mentoring, because they just need that knowledge, that experience, because as we know, some people say experience is the best teacher, but however, we do learn from other people's experience. We don't go through exactly the same things in life, but you can pick some lessons also. So you can impart some lessons to help them achieve their goals, to help them, to motivate them as well, and to train and give direction.
Then okay, no, thanks so much for that. That's actually a great point, Rumbi, and I think you've really articulated a lot of like the processes that can happen in a therapeutic space as well. So that's fantastic to hear. I could see that Dr. Bernard, you had something you wanted to say in response or to complement what Rumbi was saying.
I didn't finish, Tracy.
We'll come back to you.
No, it's all right. I think she has covered what I wanted to add about the role of combining both pharmacological and looking at the biopsychosocial sphere of how to manage the psychological and social factors, cultural factors affecting a person's mental illness, and how they can be managed in a way that helps to achieve mental well-being.
Definitely. And I guess just even in hearing that, and based on our recent discussion around the social and political identities, I wonder what you can add to that, Dr. Tinashe.
I mean, I'm not a clinician, so what I have to say will largely be very much from a non-clinical perspective. However, I will just echo what I said earlier and restate that, I think to the extent that one can find communities of like-minded people who don't necessarily view one in terms of lack purely, that would be particularly useful for someone who belongs to a community that is marginalized and looked down upon in various ways that might actually undermine someone's sense of self-worth. And to the extent that someone's sense of self-worth is compromised, it can really be difficult to get about doing anything ordinary or that might ultimately address some of those psychosocial factors, resulting in them being really resolved to a point where someone can effectively participate in society and feel comfortable in who it is that they are. So I would say, at least this is something that has worked for me as well, that finding those communities of like-minded people in whom you're not only called upon to understand yourself through the lens of lack or absence of something that is yet to be fulfilled, then it can really do a lot for securing a decent sense of who it is that you understand yourself to be, and having that self-esteem that is so very necessary for moving through the world.
Yeah, and I hear that essentially you're promoting safe spaces like what we've created today, which is really a safe space for people to be as vulnerable and authentic as they can be, and being more strength focused or based, really.
Exactly.
Yeah. Christian, anything else you want to sort of add to this conversation?
No.
Yes. Sounds good. I'll circle back to Rumbi because I know you said you were not finished, and I just want to hear what additional information you wanted to share, Rimbi?
Okay, just wanted to mention another form of support, which I feel that is very crucial, which is coaching. I often do never find African people come for that, but coaching is very crucial at the end of the recovery phase if you've gone through mental health challenge, in that it helps to bring out the hidden potential and for you to be able to achieve your purposes in life. We know that when you go through a mental health challenge in life, it has an impact, a negative impact on your identity. So if you already did not know your personal identity, it becomes lost completely. So coaching helps you to then refocus and repurpose and find out that identity, because you know we have different identities. You've got an identity as a wife, as a mother, you know, as a career woman, or as a doctor, whatever you're doing, but you need to be able to articulate all of them and separate. So when you go through a phase of mental challenges, that gets all distorted. So coaching helps you to then refocus on the vision that you may have been following before and just help you. It's not spoon feeding. Coaching is different from mentoring or counseling, in that you are the one who does the work to actually bring out that potential that you didn't even know you had. So I think that is also crucial at the end of the recovery journey.
I'm just wondering, I guess, is that only available professionally, or is there other forms of coaching that can happen outside of the professional setting?
Look, it's quite a specialized area, I would say. So somebody has to have an understanding of how to link all of them in terms of, because usually when, by the time you come to the phase of coaching, someone must have maybe come off medication. They no longer need that dependence of this pharmacology part. They've done some counseling, they've done the mentoring, the psychoeducation. You now want them to now discover that despite having gone through the mental health challenge, they actually are now able to achieve that full state of mental well-being, but they may not know where to start from and how. So you're sort of helping them to rebuild. So it's quite specialized, I would say. I've not seen any of it within the public areas. It's private.
It's quite interesting, definitely. Anyone else want to share their thoughts around that? Because I think that's been quite an interesting discussion around the supports that you have available.
I think what she's talking about is the long-term management of people who are in recovery from mental illness, and definitely professional services such as coaching, psychological therapy such as CBT do help. But for those who can afford private services, there is always in our society the role of role models and mentors like uncles and you know, your mother's brothers or your father's sisters, for women, you know, your aunties, that can help in modeling and also with your life around them, and also with advice on how to navigate your life in our Zimbabwean society.
Okay, no, that's quite interesting. So I can hear from both of you, the two of you, that you've actually clearly distinguished what's role modeling and what coaching is. And the coaching aspect really requires that professional support. So that's fantastic to hear and know that distinction. I did also notice you added another acronym, Dr. Bernard. So that's another one for people to ask you about. So CBT. I guess on that note, I would like to sort of segue a little bit more into how the Zimbabwean heritage for any of you actually plays a part in the way that it supports your mental well-being. And I'll actually ask you, Dr. Bernard, to go first with that one.
So in terms of my Zimbabwean heritage, it's for me personally, it's been mostly about maintaining connections with people from you know, people I grew up with from back home, regular visits back home, and also using social media like WhatsApp video calls to keep in touch with family and friends back home. And also here, catching up with friends and family here in Australia. That is helped in terms of maintaining those social connections that do help to maintain the feel-good hormones in the brain. The other things that do help, of course, are things such as physical exercises, because they do help to release, those feel-good hormones, your endorphins, your endocannabinoids in the brain. And we have quite a vibrant society around football and footballing activities here in Australia. And we do meet almost annually at Easter in one of the cities. So that's pretty important. And there's always footballing events almost every weekend. Last week, I went to Darwin for a conference, and I did manage to catch up with the guys there around their footballing activities. People that I last met in Adelaide 4 or 5 years ago, and we just took off as if there had been no intervening years. And it was a pretty good experience. It made the stay there less lonely. The other things that do help, of course, are learning new skills or maintaining skills we had back home from Zimbabwe, such as, every household almost had a garden, and activities like gardening do help. They bring you into the moment, and that helps to stave off any depressing thoughts or anxiety. Learning new skills, cooking, mentoring juniors in our society. Those things do help. And also, Zimbabweans do tend to congregate around activities that are usually helpful, such as church groups. I know of, several vibrant church groups. I think in FIF, the Catholics, every denomination actually has got a vibrant church group. And you see how they help to maintain mental well-being when you attend negative events like funerals. You see Zimbabweans band together around the bereaved, the family that has lost a loved one, and that helps them not to grieve alone and not to be alone in such a vulnerable time, and that's quite commendable. We come together as a society around those times, and it's a characteristic that's quite unique and quite useful actually within our society.
No, thank you so much for sharing those, because you've actually touched on quite a few things that a lot of people probably engage with already, like kind of like what we talked about with the paw and the put your finger down game. It was really about being connected with physical activity and being able to, I guess, engage in new activities as well. And then you added a faith-based element as well. And I guess I would love to also sort of incorporate that for in whoever's going to respond next, if you can sort of touch on Zimbabwean heritage, but also the faith aspect as well. I'm inclined to go to Christian.
Okay.
I will try.
Yeah.
Oh, Christian, sorry.
No,
My apologies.
You can try.
You go on.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I think that, like, with me again, when it comes to, like, I just like to say that I do pretty much agree with everything which Dr. Bernard has been saying, and with my Zimbabwean culture, I think I use it as a source of strength, and and I guess as well, something as when you don't really have a culture, you don't have I guess like you don't have a place to I guess for thing on for take on, and my culture has been something which I've constantly fallen back on. And when it comes to faith, I am someone as well who's quite religious, and you know, like, you know, my faith is something as well, which is again connected with my culture. So yeah, so pretty much going to church, praying, just, you know, staying in touch. You know, he has been something which has been able to support my mental being. So yeah.
Awesome. Dr. Tanasha, you were going to say something?
Yeah, so I was just going to say that, you know, Zimbabwean culture is very expressive. There are many different ways in which Zimbabweans have expressed themselves over millennia or over the centuries, you know, music, creative writing, storytelling. We're very strong and avid storytellers. And to me, these ways of expressing ourselves have really helped me, especially growing up as a young girl in Australia and then growing into a woman. They really helped me to find ways that were quite cathartic, that allowed me to give expression to how it is that I was feeling at any given point in time. So I think often we take for granted these ways of self-expression and the music of our cultures, and we don't understand the ways in which they actually help us cultivate, you know, a positive mental well-being. But they're really quite essential, because I don't know many Zimbabweans who don't get together and don't play some music, or don't dance, or don't celebrate in one way or another. Even at funerals are not simply these sad affairs that people get together to celebrate. They're celebrations of the life of the person who has passed, and there is often quite a fair amount of being jovial during funerals. So I think music, poetry, storytelling in one way or another is something that is very cathartic, and that is integral to Zimbabwean culture, that has given myself and so many others such strength to face different kinds of seasons in their lives, etc. So I think that is one thing that is so rich about Zimbabwean heritage that each Zimbabwean ought to be so very proud of, I would say.
No, fantastic. And I think everyone has raised a great point about the richness that comes from our culture and how it cultivates the current mental well-being journeys that we've been going through. And to end it off, I would love to hear from Rumbi.
Okay, I wasn't expecting. All right. Sorry, I have to pick on the negative part in terms of, I think there's still a weakness in terms of the attitudes that we bring from the culture in terms of marriage and domestic violence. I talk about that because that is the major thing that has come out of COVID and the lockdowns. There have been so much domestic violence cases and so much being wrapped under the carpet. There's so many women and men too who are suffering, and many have developed anxiety, depression, anger, and there's a lot of suicides going on within the African community as well. And it's all because of the fear of stigma that, you know, when you tell somebody that things are not going well in the marriage, people tend to judge. They look at the material aspect of things, say, oh, we thought all was well and things like that, but you seem to be doing well on the outside. And also that being raised, we're not consulting psychologists, or as Dr. Bernard mentioned before, we have aunties and uncles, but being out here, many people don't have that supporting system. And over the distance, it's not very practical. We need hands-on advice and support here. So I think the change of attitude also would help in people realizing that they need to try and look for culturally aware, culturally sensitive practices or form of support, so that we can rise up from some of those that are actually leave a negative impact on the
No, thank you. And I think you're definitely right in also highlighting those, I guess, unhelpful concepts or experiences that occur within our culture. And really today was about trying to highlight all the, I guess, the positive infusions of the culture, but in itself, we acknowledge that there is still obviously a lot of work to be done, especially around the conversation on social and political identities for sure. But I probably have a lot more questions for you guys, but I know I have to be fair and actually open it up to the crowd so that they can get in their questions. So I would love to hear, well, not me, but I think I would love to see who's got questions for the panelists. Feel free to type away or to actually put your hand up, like what I've mentioned before, so that we can actually, you can ask your question and see what the panelists said. I did see Ruembo's hand up before. So Ru, did you still have a question before I sort of add my question on? Okay. So, okay, we'll move to Josie Jovial at the moment, who has a question. So let me just grab Josie. Can you unmute yourself, Josie? Hi.
Oh, hi. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, very well.
Okay, I've got a quick question for the panelists, if that's okay.
Of course. Yes, go ahead. Hi, Josie.
Hello.
Yeah, you can ask your question.
Okay, so I just need to ask, what help is there in terms of mental health? I mean, mental well-being. What help or what resources are out there that can help Black people that are facing mental health challenges resulting from some sort of bullying, let's say maybe workplace bullying or any kind of bullying?
That's a great question. Any one of you panelists, please feel free to answer that.
Okay, can I just ask a bit further? In terms of the bullying in the workplace, how far would that have gone? Are we talking of now somebody having acute stress, sleeping, they're no longer sleeping, they're losing appetite, they can't function normally? Are we talking at that level, or we're just talking in terms of you're going through the bullying and you need direction on how to resolve or deal with that?
We're talking of someone is already at a level where they are not functioning because they've now got mental health issues that have resulted from workplace bullying, and they are Black. So some sort of bullying circling around racism, I mean, which is passive, but it's there.
Okay, I can only advertise the services in my area. So in terms of Southwestern Sydney, you have 3 African credentialed mental health nurse practitioners there. So all you would just need is to go to a GP and get a mental health treatment plan. Then you can be referred to any of the 3, and you would get at least 15 sessions from there, and you would be able to get that support and on how to deal with that.
Okay, is the support tailored for a Black person, like from diverse?
Yes, in terms of yes, as I said, there are 3 African Black people there who are within the Southwestern Sydney program. So, and Trace is one of them, luckily. But I think Tracy deals with only 20 to 25. Am I right, Tracy?
The youth.
Yeah.
But I'm
so
trying
you
not
would
to discriminate.
probably either come to me or to one other African person.
Yeah. And I think to add on to Rumbi's point, just around, I guess, the supports available, in terms of, let's say, other resources that you might want that are self-help related, I don't think we're there yet at the moment. There haven't been resources specifically for bullying, race-related bullying, which is pretty much discrimination. But I guess you can have, and it is sometimes hard, obviously, to prove these things in the workplace, but you can access EAP within your workplace. And I understand that, yes, you want more of that culture safety and responsiveness. So as a starting point, it's about going to those services if you cannot find any other Black related or culturally responsive service for you to actually access. So it's a tricky one at the moment because we're still quite developing in terms of the clinician or service base around mental health services specifically for certain things. So hopefully that
thank you
answers
very
the
much.
question. Thank you. Oliver, you've got a question.
Yeah, thank you. Question, just a comment. Thank you to the guys for speaking out. I was just maybe comment to what Rumbi said, and I think Dr. Ben, you spoke about it. I think one of the things that look, it's something that we're finding out. I'm working with a few people around domestic violence and mental health, particularly around men, Black men in particular from sub-Saharan Africa. And what has come out is that, like, particularly because of lockdown, I think somebody mentioned it, but that, there's just been this spike in terms of people that have come out of that. And I think one thing that has also come out is that, look, women and children are well serviced. There's so much service that support women and children, but then there's so much in terms of supporting men, mental health, and also men that are victims or are involved in domestic violence. So I think I just wanted to ask probably the panelists if, because that's one of the things, because the service, I work in a government agency, and one of the things that always come to my, because I'm the sort of cultural kind of person, they always refer all the men to me and say, look, Oliver, you are Black, so can you find a way of helping this? So what's been happening is that there's been very little probably that we've been able to do in terms of supporting this man, because there's no real service that's really tailor-made for Black men that is culturally appropriate. So I just wanted to find out if there's anything specific out there so that you can try and support and probably even refer some of the men that we're working with.
On to you, the panelists. Who would like to respond to that one?
I don't know of any services which particularly target Black men, and I think that, like, one of the main things for that is that, within our culture there's still a lot of stigma. So I think that might be why there is legal services, but for myself, I don't really know. Maybe Dr. Bernard or someone else might know.
Okay, what I'll say is, in terms of males, even with the white Caucasian and the others, there aren't those services because it's always a very small percentage of men who actually experience domestic violence. However, what I'll say is, on the victims counseling website, there are some different counselors from different cultures. So you just have to go through those lists and you have to ring one by one to find out which ones are particularly suitable for your own.
Yeah, that's true. There is a paucity of culturally appropriate practitioners out there. And I guess what ends up happening is you problem solve for each issue differently. If it's a perpetrator of domestic violence, and then you look at what's driving that, whether they've got a drug and alcohol problem, if that's the issue, you try to also address that. And whether it's acculturation issues, you try to address that separately. But I also wanted to go back to the issue of workplace bullying that was mentioned. I think one other aspect that needs to be addressed is the issue of that it's illegal if somebody's facing racism at work, and the HR department needs to address that, number one. And number two, there's a what's called a workers' compensation process, where if somebody gets mentally ill at a workplace, they can be directed through that, where they can then get resources away from their employer to help them navigate that. But this is something that's available to all Australians, all workers who work here in Australia. Yeah.
No, thank you for sharing that. And I echo with the comments that have been made so far. I just wanted to before I get to Gladys, there's a question that's been in the chat for a while now. So this is coming from Tins, who said, why does it seem it's easier for our parents, uncles, and aunties working in health industry to diagnose and help other people, but can't diagnose or see the signs of people suffering with mental illness in their own home until it's too late? Then they go on to say, specifically speaking about the past 4 years, around 4 or 5 Zimbabwean male youth have lost their lives to suicide. And the worrying thing is, it seems like nothing is being done to help the youth. If there is, what is being done? And do we have the youth leaders to connect and share this information to the youth? Who would like to answer that? It's a great question. I guess I can sort of start with that one. In terms of specific youth resources for the Black community, that is still, again, like what Dr. Bernard did say, there's still paucity with that information out there. However, there is youth-specific information. For example, Headspaces, they do provide services that cater to the youth in particular. In terms of what happens in the families, it's a little bit hard. And I guess most of what we can do is try to increase mental health promotion within our own communities. So actually having events like this, being able to go in to the specific areas that we know a lot of Black people are in, like in churches, or have particular events where people would want to be interested and learn more about mental health so that they can start knowing more about the signs. For example, there's mental health first aid that's becoming a huge thing where people are actually trying to learn just about recognizing the signs and what to do thereafter within the community and in, I guess, as individuals. But in saying that, there is help throughout. It might not be what people are specifically looking for in terms of culturally responsive. It's a step. And with all these Black mental health owned services, we now know that like we can actually start catering and trying to expand a little bit more. So there's scope there for actual opportunities of increasing. Did anyone else want to answer that one related to the youth?
Can I just add something? Probably not as an answer per se, but just a general observation. You did mention, Tracy, that there is the church that would help the youth. At times I find that the stigma that we are talking about is still very rife, especially in the church. So you'll find that the youth, even though they're in the church, they do not find someone that they can talk to about it. That doesn't go to church. They don't find someone to talk to about those things because the people that are in the church or in the family, there's still that stigma. And the stresses might be from the people that are in the family. So then it becomes very difficult for them to talk to someone.
Yes.
So what I would think is that as a community, we need to talk more about this like we're doing here and just try and break the stigma and have somewhere where they identify people in the community that they can talk to. Maybe that would help. But it is really sad that this is happening. And it stems from our culture where we sort of like say, Murume acheme, men, they just hold things in. Because you find that it's more of the boys that are committing suicide than the girls. So we also need like role models from the men around to try and mentor the young ones so that they can find someone to talk to.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for sharing that. And I echo your points in that in terms of just having immediate support, it's important to be able to access things like Lifeline. And also we've got things like obviously the mental health helpline as well. And I'll make sure I'll share the numbers for that. Just if you know that someone is actually experiencing a lot of distress, so that people will be able to actually seek immediate help. Cultural responsive services will become available over time, but right now we're still quite limited. So it's about remembering that you can still access other acute services, especially if you really need help at the moment. We are running out of time for this Q&A, but I'll just ask Gladys, if you can please just ask your question quite quickly so that we can sort of finish this off as well. And yeah, sorry, can you unmute yourself?
Yeah, thank you, Tracy. I'll try to be quick. Thank you to the panelists as well. I'm looking mostly at prevention. What can we do to not get to those stages? I understand what support is there, and I'm looking mainly at using maybe the professional expertise, using our experience when we came here. We know the culture shock, we know, everyone is trying to adjust to the new environment, the parents as well as the children. Dr. Bernard spoke about acculturation. The kids can easily adopt or adjust into this new environment. The parents are holding on to the Zimbabwean culture and values. And we know eventually how some of these issues of mental problems are coming from. But what have we done? What is there to, take care of the new migrants as people come in? What have we said is, we know there will be these problems. How do we welcome the new people and make sure that they do not go through all these things, so that we support their mental well-being, we support their settling into this new country with all the things that we know are bound to happen. I would love to know what services are there, what is there, and what are we doing?
Yeah, panelists, I'll just get one person to answer, and if you can be quite quick with your response so we can get moving.
So just can you just repeat the question? There was a problem with my camera there.
Sure. So the question was really centered around health promotion activities. What is currently being done to at least try to prevent escalation of mental illness?
Okay, the challenge that is there is that we are still having within the African communities parents, uncles, and aunties who are in self-denial when they notice that their youth is having mental health challenges. They do not come out to seek the help. And so it's still a very closed internal things within the family. So unless if they come out to seek help, it's really difficult. What I find is most of the time, by the time they come to seek help, it's actually a very helpless situation. Things have really gone way beyond. So what I feel is that what needs to be, where we need to start from is more of, as you mentioned before, within the churches. In the churches, there is a lack of knowledge of mental health. So you find that there are a lot of youth who actually rely on their pastors, priests, elders, but they go there and they don't get the right advice, the right counseling that they need to seek the help. We also have issues of dysfunctional families. We are having parents who stay together for the sake of the culture, for the sake of the face, to be Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so, yet the family is not operating normally. Children get psychological and emotionally damaged. So that is still another issue. Then we have the issue of absent dad syndrome. We have fathers who are in the home, but they are not a role model to their young boys. They don't spend time, they don't have a relationship with their sons. So you find that they resort to social media, to friends for advice. And most of them, we have a lot of youth who are suffering with depression. So those what I find are the major issues. So what we need to address is that families need to realize, or couples or parents, that counseling is an index checker that people should practice, not only in terms of crisis, but regularly, to find out where they are as a family, to learn how to talk to their children, to find out what are the issues going on. then I think if we start from there, then we can prevent the escalation much later.
Yeah, no, thank you so much, Rumbi. And I apologize to everyone, but we're out of time to be able to actually respond more deeply to this. But I am actually sensing that there is a need for a larger conversation and actually for us as a community to come together and actually explore how we can be more preventative and how we can actually have opportunities where we're actually maybe developing campaigns within our own community to develop some sort of prevention strategies as well. So sorry if for the people that still have their hands up, I encourage you to actually put your questions in the chat so that the panelists can answer them as we go along. But thank you so much to all the panelists. You have been amazing. As you can see, you still have a lot of questions. So I'm sure people will be trying to hit you up and actually know a little bit more from you. But I think this is a great way to get the conversation started, and let's keep it going, especially when we're at home and around our family members. Now I just want us to actually have another mindful break, because as you've noticed, we've actually had quite a bit of a really deep conversation there. So I would actually like to bring along Emily. So Emily will be providing a mindful break for us with the performance. So I'm actually just going to bring her around now. That way we can actually see her. And I would like to introduce her first before we actually get there. So Emily is the first Zimbabwean Australian to sing the national anthem at the state of origin. She professionally performs in theatre, with her recent casting as Frankie Healy in Jagged Little Pill. And now she's actually in a Christmas Carol. Is that public knowledge? Okay, yeah, that's good. In her spare time, she loves all forms of stars, clouds, and storytelling. She's currently studying speech pathology to ultimately become a vocal therapist. I am so thrilled to hear her sing, and for everyone else as well to hear the talent that she has. So take it away, Emily.
Thank you. Can't fool myself, I don't want nobody else to ever love me. You are my shining star, my guiding light, my love fantasy. There's not a minute, hour, day, or night that I don't love you. You're at the top of my list, cause I'm always thinking of you. I still remember in the days when I was scared to touch you, how I spent my days dreaming, planning how to say I love you. You must have known that I had feelings deep enough to swim in. That's when you opened up your heart and you told me to come in. Oh my love, 1,000 kisses from you is never too much. And I just don't wanna stop. Oh my love, a million days in your arms is never too much. And I just don't wanna stop. Too much, never too much, never too much, never too much. Woke up today, looked at your picture just to get me started. I called you up, but you weren't there, and I was broken hearted. Hung up the phone, can't be too late, the boss is so demanding. Opened the door up, and to my surprise, there you were standing. Well, who needs to go to work to hustle for another dollar? I'd rather be with you, cause you make my heart scream and holler. Love is a gamble, and I'm so glad that I am winning. We've come a long way, and yet this is only the beginning. Oh my love, 1,000 kisses from you is never too much. And I just don't wanna stop. hugs and kisses from you is never too much. And I just don't wanna stop, oh my love. A million days in your arms is never too much. And I just don't wanna stop. I just don't wanna stop.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Emily. Oh my
Thank
gosh.
you.
I can hear a little bit of feedback, so I think that little sound down is on. But thank you so much. Wow. Again, such talent. And I wish you could also probably see people clapping and screaming and cheering you on right now, because that was fantastic. And I would just love to actually get to know a little bit more about you before I let you off. So I just want to sort of know, what ties do you have to your ancestors?
I think with storytelling, like creative forms of storytelling, like with the singing and just verbal storytelling as well, I think that is pretty similar to how our ancestors told.
Yeah. And it's a huge thing, isn't it, in our culture?
Yeah.
I wonder, is that what led you to become such a superstar now?
I think so.
Yeah. I guess, how did you get into this journey where you are such a superstar now?
Just, I guess, just following. I started off as hobbies, and then just realizing the passion that I had for it and like the drive I had for it, and I guess taking a lot of risks too.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Great to hear. And what message would you want to give younger people who want to be more engaged with their mental well-being journey?
I think it's all about community. And as we can see here, that we have a large community that is available to talk about your mental well-being and not being afraid to ask, specifically our community, like the Zimbabwean community too. And just knowing that it's not like a taboo, or it shouldn't be a taboo anymore.
I think you have to be in the next youth event, really, to sort of promote that same message. This is the preventative stuff that people are trying to get at, really, to normalize the conversations, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. And now, where can people find and support your work?
On Instagram, I go by Emily Ngomo, and I think on Facebook it's the same.
And in theatre, how can we support you? We gotta support you, in theatre.
You'll see, like, when I post on my socials which states I'll be in and be performing in.
Perfect. No, thank you so much, Emily. That has been a fantastic and uplifting mental mindful break that we really needed. So thank you so much for that performance.
Thank you.
Good. Well, now, guys, we're getting into our sharing our culturally safe mental health tips. And like I mentioned, we've sort of heard from everyone else, and now it's really about sort of hearing from you, but in smaller groups. And I just want to remind everyone that this is not recorded during those smaller groups, because I want people to feel as vulnerable and as authentic as they can be. So in these groups, you'll have a facilitator. So they will be More Blessing Gumbo, Shepherd Mashingaidze, Oliver Maboreke, and Lucy Nyanga as a facilitator. And they're just there to really make sure that they guide the conversation and make people feel safe and comfortable as they go along. As you have noticed, I'm really about safety, mental safety. And so I would now like to sort of give you guys about 12 minutes just to discuss amongst yourselves the really like what it is that you do currently to actually engage in mental wellness activities, and does your culture help in any way? So I'll be splitting you off now, and I'll see you in about 12 minutes so that we can actually have a mindful activity that Mickey will be sort of taking us into, and then we'll close off the event then. So let's go in. Just make sure you join. So generally that's what we want to do. So join in there. For those people that haven't been assigned, I'm assigning you right now. as we go along, but just click and join your group. Welcome back, guys, as we slowly get everyone back. Let us just get there. Hope your discussions went well. I was sort of just jumping in here and there, sort of listening in, trying not to be as intrusive. And again, just seeing the wonderful ways that everyone actually engages in mentally well activities. So it's great to hear. Just waiting for everyone to rejoin.
Recorded.
And I've got Mickey here ready for the next part. Hi, Mickey. Are you back?
Hey.
Hey. We're good. Right, we're just waiting for a few more people to join back in, and I think everyone's back now. No, I was just saying that I had sort of gone into each group, and I was just hearing the supportive dialogue that was going on, and just how it seemed to be a lot of people engaging with a lot of healthy and great mental well-being activities. So I think it was fantastic to hear, and to be honest, it's kind of sad that we are now almost ending this entire evening, but it has to happen. But to make sure that we do come to a really relaxing and closing down evening, we've engaged the help of the beautiful Mickey here, who was kind enough to volunteer. And before she starts her magic on us to actually unwind, I'll just sort of introduce her a little bit. So Mickey is a passionate social worker who advocates for equity and accessibility of services. She firmly believes in representation. She collaboratively pioneered the suicide prevention outreach team in her health district, where they respond to young people and adolescents experiencing mental health crisis and provide therapeutic intervention. She's a mom of 3 girls, energetic, by the way, and enjoys hanging out with the girls, dancing, binging on Showmax and Netflix, and catching up with friends. I would love to be grounded by you, Mickey. Please take it away.
Awesome. All right. Tonight's been really great discussion. So I think we'll just end off with just grounding us and bringing us back to just that sense of calm. Allowing yourself to be mindful and present throughout your day to create that sense of calm. This mindful exercise will focus on the soles of the feet. It uses an emotionally neutral part of our body. It can anchor us when we feel overwhelmed, as it redirects our attention away from our thoughts and to the points of contact between our body and the earth, helping to ground and settle ourselves. Let yourself be free of any expectations about how this mindful exercise should go. Your thoughts will wander, and that's normal. Just bring your attention back to your feet as I guide you through, and gently guide your attention back to focus on your feet, creating a mindful state. Let's begin. You can sit or stand with your feet on the floor. Make sure you're comfortable and slightly lean forward, so there's slight pressure in your feet. If it feels comfortable, drop your soft gaze forward slightly. I want you to breathe naturally. A deep breath in and out. And now shifting all of your attention to the soles of your feet. Noticing any physical sensations that are present right now in your feet. Moving your toes, feeling the sensations change. Maybe grabbing the floor with your toe and noticing if the sensations change. allowing yourself to notice any sensations that are present. Remembering there's nothing you should be feeling, but allowing yourself to be fully present to the sensations in the soles of your feet. Maybe noticing your shoes covering your feet and that sensation. Maybe feeling the pressure of the soles of your shoes or the tile or carpet beneath your feet and that sensation. Exploring the curve of your arch and noticing any sensations, any temperature or tingling. Any sensations that are present, allowing them to change and being okay with the possibility of not feeling any sensations at all. Exploring your heels against the back of your shoes. From time to time, your mind will wander off, and that's okay. Just accepting and not judging when this happens, and gently bringing your awareness back to the soles of your feet, over and over and over again. And now gradually expanding your awareness to hear any sounds near you right now. Hearing them with your senses, not having to describe or explain them, just hearing them. When sounds no longer pull your attention away, bring your attention back to the soles of your feet. So you can switch, if you like, between sounds and the soles of your feet. And when your mind wanders, bring your attention back to the feet or the sounds around you for a while now. And just take a moment to breathe naturally, a deep breath in and out. A deep breath in and out. And in a moment, listening for the bell, which will signal the end of the mindfulness activity. Becoming more aware now to what you see around you. Well done. You can take a stretch now.
Thank you so much. I feel quite grounded at the moment, and you have just been incredible with that guided meditation and just grounding with your feet. It's so important, eh? Because sometimes I think we really sometimes are not as rooted as we think we are until we pay attention to those areas. Before I let you go, I just want to sort of just understand a little bit more about how you remain present in your daily life as well.
I try to be mindful, I guess, of my surroundings. And I think because my work is so hectic and also the juggle between being a mom as well. So I try to be quite intentional with taking moments out to just be present. And yeah, I think the soles of the feet is a really good one, especially when I'm out in nature. But just in my day-to-day, it's just generally using my senses just to be able to name things around me or sounds around me or what I can smell or taste at the time.
Yeah.
And that just allows me to bring my focus back into where I'm at and my purpose of what I'm trying to achieve for the day.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. And I can really hear that use of nature in there as well. And it almost makes me think about, I guess, sometimes how nature is so important to our Zimbabwean heritage. And on that note, just wondering, how does your Zimbabwean heritage help in any way, if it does, with your mental health journey?
I think nature's a big part. Just growing up back home, we spent all day outdoors, really, climbing mulberry trees, picking guavas. And so I think in terms of just heritage and just, I don't know, just home, I just love the sense of being out. I love the sense of just being out in nature and anywhere near water. Is just so soothing for myself, and it just takes me back to to just my younger days in Zim.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for enlightening us about you and your way of grounding yourself, but also for providing this really soothing activity. And I hope everyone does feel quite relaxed as they leave the session. I know we've kind of touched on a lot of things, but thank you so much, Mickey. And that brings us off to a close, guys. It has been a wonderful night, and I am just putting it right now into the chat services that you can access if anyone feels mentally distressed, or even if they know anyone that is a bit distressed. So really, thank you so much for actually attending. It's been great. Please evaluate this seminar and this event that was really curated for you guys. So with that being said, we appreciate your attendance and hope someone or something out there got something out of this today. And again, really appreciate your attendance. So I will just leave this link out here so that people can actually, if possible, can actually complete the survey. So just so that we know how we're actually sort of tracking in terms of meeting the community's needs around these discussions. But it seems like we'll be having more discussions anyway. But yeah, thank you so much. And I will leave it here for now. We'll end right at 8. So feel free to complete that. But thank you again.
Most of us are
Everybody black. I am. Betting on black tonight.